We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The time has come, and I'm so excited to be here with you all. I am Dr. Eve. I am the host for Touch One Life, Touch Millions, the podcast where we host conversations about redefining well being as the highest form of equity. And tonight we have our very first guest tonight. So we have been in the background. We're going to relax a little bit because we're having a conversation tonight. And for those of you who have been knowing me for so many years, you know, I don't have like this particular type of way. I like natural conversations. And so I'm really excited to be hosting this conversation, the very first one conversation with a special guest tonight, Dr. Ann James. As you know, I launched Touch One Life, Touch Millions, the theme, which is my calling from God to leave the 99 and go after the one, right? When people go downstream, I go up. And when they go upstream, I go down. Why? Because there's
Yeah.
always a conflict theory. There's always a different way of looking at things. And upon, getting this assignment from God, I had to sit down and redefine and revisit my own stories, right? And what's it like to heal? And what's it like to take the journey? What's success look like from this point of view? And how do we touch another life except we heal in all areas of our life? Physically, mentally, financially, socially, all the ways that we show up as humans. And so I'm excited to dive into some concerns, successes, gaps, and recommendations from the one and only Dr. Antoinette Ann James, the CEO of Financial Freedom Battle Buddies. She is on a mission to empower individuals with the knowledge and skills necessary to transform their financial lives. She's committed to helping others renew their mindset, regain control over their financial behavior, and rebuild confidence in their money management abilities. Welcome to the call, Dr. Ann. Welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Eve. I am so honored. Wow, the first. I like first. Okay. So thank you so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here with you and your audience. And anytime that I can, talk about money, I'm in my happy place.
Amen. Amen. So we are live streaming on Facebook and can't see both at the same time, but perhaps maybe I should pull up my Facebook on my phone. That way there may be questions there as well. So as we connect with that audience as well, can you shared so much with me in your bio, very brief, but dense bio, right? About your background and all the things that you do and have done. But I want to start in a very special place that I believe is where your humble beginnings are. And so, can you are a military vet of 21 years. Wow.
Yes.
So, this is an exciting time to even have you here. It's always exciting to honor our veterans, right? We just celebrated Veterans Day, and this is Veterans Week. And it could be
Yeah.
your month, your year, your day,
Life.
it can be your life, right? So let's talk about those 21 years of service. Can you take us on a journey of your life and service?
Oh wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, wow. Okay, so my stepfather, he was Army, right? I grew up in Columbus, Georgia. So my stepfather was Army here at Fort Benning and stuff like that. But then we relocated to California. So, I just knew, I didn't want to put that burden on my mother, to pay for college, and stuff like that, right? So I knew that I wanted to go to college, and my oldest brother at the time, he joined the Air Force. So I knew I wasn't gonna go Army. I knew that because my stepdad, I was like, I can't be sleeping out in no field doing PT at 5 o'clock in the morning. I ain't that type. Plus, I look better in blue. Okay. So, so my brother joined the Air Force. So I went to visit him one year. I think he was stationed in Arkansas. So I just love what I saw, the sense of community, just they had their own club, their own grocery store, just everything. So I love that. So following in my brother's footsteps, I decided to join the Air Force. It was shortly after graduating. I went to basic training. I was 18 at the time.
Fresh
Straight had,
on.
yeah, straight out of high school. So the military, besides working at McDonald's, the military was all I knew as far as employment. So from there, so I left California and I went to South Dakota, right? So your girl didn't even know where South Dakota was. I was like, South Dakota? What? I'm coming from Cali. So I'm like, where's South Dakota? So, and then I was working in what's called it was personnel, but a lot of people may refer to it on the civilian side like human resources, right? So I got stationed in South Dakota, hated it, snow. So then what I did was in the military, you can volunteer to go anywhere, really. So I volunteered to go anywhere in the world. I was single, didn't have no kids. I joined the military for college and I joined the military to travel, right? So I wanted to get the heck out of South Dakota.
Focus.
So yeah, yeah. So after being in South Dakota, I got selected to go to Italy out of all places overseas.
Tell me about it.
Yes, yes, yes. So, oh, so I got to Italy, loved it quickly, fell in love or lust, should I say? Um, Ended up pregnant, got married shortly thereafter, got divorced. So that's really where my life started to change after Italy. So I can just go on and on. From Italy, I went to Germany. By that time, it's just me and my daughter. And please stop me, Dr. Eve, at any time if you want to
Well,
jump
I
in
don't
and
want to
ask some
stop you
questions.
because
Okay.
this is designed to be about our experiences.
Okay.
You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
because remember, it's designed to touch another life,
Okay. Awesome.
because that
Awesome.
life may go on to touch millions of other lives. And so we can't really do that without sharing our own lived experiences, right?
Right.
So I know
Okay.
that you have a beautiful daughter. I met you, wow, maybe a year ago
I
now
think it was about a year
as
ago.
investors, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it has been quite an honor, and learning your story and how you bought your very first. You really hone in on let's get you to the first one. And I love that concept. Let's get you to the first property. And in
Yeah.
that property challenge, you share with us your journey into the investment space, but that didn't come without a whole lot of in between,
Yeah.
right? And so let's talk about the in between,
The
right?
in between. Yes.
You're a
Yes. Yes.
mother, and how old is your
Yes.
daughter?
My daughter, look, I don't want to age
Okay,
myself,
I'm
but yeah, I
sorry.
ain't gonna
Maybe I
age
shouldn't do
myself. But
that.
let's just say
Maybe I'm the only one that likes to tell her age
yeah,
because
I
wow,
don't look
it's
my
a
age. I'll put it
blessing.
out there. I'm 54.
All right.
Yeah. So my daughter is soon to be 32.
Wow.
So yeah, so like I was saying, from Italy, I went to Germany. So by that time, it's just me and my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Single mom. Never thought I would be. I didn't want to be because the majority of our life, my mother was a single mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it is what it is. And where my life really changed, Dr. Eve, is in Germany. My daughter may have been about going on 2 and stuff like that, and she just always did things later in life, like walked and stuff like that. So it was a little bit later before she started talking, but I got concerned. So I took her to the doctor. And I just remember the doctor, a little bit I can't remember because I think I blacked out or I was in a fog or something. But I remember the doctor coming back and basically said that your daughter has special needs. So I was like, what does that mean? I didn't, I'm young. I'm like 21, 22 years old. I didn't know what special needs meant, and stuff like that. No, I take it. They said she was developmentally delayed. That's the term, right? Special needs, same type thing. But I was like, what does that mean? Will she live with me forever? All of those type things that would start going through my head. So I remember on the drive home from the hospital, it was like my mother was in the car with me, but she wasn't, right? But I can like hear her voice in my ear. Mm-hmm. My mother would always say, you always have to be in a position to take care of your children, no matter what. So I knew at that time in my life as a single, I was a E2, E3, in the military. And before I had my daughter, I was wilding out. I was doing all the things, the shopping, the drinking, the partying. I was very independent. So I knew that I wasn't in the best position. My finances was, crazy. But it was at that point that I was like, I did not want my past mistakes with money to affect my daughter's future. Right. So I knew that I had to get my stuff together. I had to get it, whatever that is, whatever that looked like. That's what I had to do. And that's where my journey into this financial literacy, came into play. Back then it was the Susie Ormans. I wanted to be the Black Susie Orman back in the day. Once I started learning everything, Dave Ramsey, I drank the Dave Ramsey Kool-Aid, Patrice Washington, all of that. So it was like self-education in the books. Everything that I read, I put into action. So I started slowly digging myself out of this, I say out of the trenches, really, when it came to my money and stuff like that. So that's where it really turned around for me. And my love for financial education began because the way that I look at it, Dr. Eva, is like this, right? If I can do it, a single mother of a special needs child on a single income, ain't nothing nobody else can do. You got to look at me as a possibility model, then do that. But anybody can do it. There's nothing, I wasn't the Dr. Ann at the time. I was just Ann, an E3 in the Air Force. We don't make a lot of money in the military, right? So it's just my why was so big. And it still is, that it drove me to, turn my life around. So that's really where it all began and how I ended up, I had like over 6 figures in debt. Dr. Eve, I had a car. I couldn't even drive because it was a stick shift, right? And my boyfriend at the time, he would drive it. And we ended up breaking up. So I didn't freaking know how to drive the car. So my supervisor had to teach me how to drive. This is how young and dumb I was, right? But I had this little person,
So you were just young and inexperienced.
Inexperienced. That sounds better, but I just had to turn things around. So that's really where it all began for me to, just to dig myself out of this, 6 figures of debt, pay off my car, and that's when, I eventually bought my first property.
Wow. So Joe Moody. So we have a few people who are in the space with us today, and we want to say thank you to for their showing up in the space. Thank you to all of our participants who are in the Zoom room right now. And because you're here, I'm going to call you out, right? Because I believe in honoring those who show up to support us, and all the work that we do. Thank you, Joe. I see you. Billy Taylor. Thank you. Cheryl Harrison, Dietrich. Hey, Dr. JB. Joe Moody's in the house, and Kay Jones. I don't know you, but hello. And our friend Raquel Allen. Raquel, so Sophia is in the house, and
Oh,
Anika Davis. Thank you all. Please make sure you are asking those questions because those questions are going to help us to have a more interactive and engaging conversation with our guests tonight. And let's talk about one question that actually came up. You are really talking about it right now. And Joe says, did life and living have any impact on your financial literacy? And I believe you answered that quite well, and the importance of your why, right? And how important is a person's why when you think about the journey?
you have to have a reason that's bigger than you, right? Because I do believe, like you said, it's a journey. It's not a destination somewhere you reach. Hey, I've arrived at financial freedom. It's a constant journey. So it's going to be a lot of ups and downs, good days, bad days, but you need something that keeps pushing you so that you won't stop. You won't stop. If it was still just about Ann, I would have been like, hey, I can afford, after a while, after getting promoted and stuff like that, I can afford those credit card payments. I can afford that car payment and stuff like that. But not knowing what my daughter's future was going to look like, right?
Yes.
That's what stopped me from, going balling out all the, and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. So having that why has to be very strong to keep you on that journey because it's not an overnight thing. It's
Yeah.
years and years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have something that keeps driving you so that you can, reach your goal, whatever that may be.
Yeah, so intentionality is very, very important. I'd like to
Absolutely.
say thank you to Tina Barnhill, who's also on Facebook Live with us right now. She says hello. Thank you for your service. And thank you to Celestine Davis, who was here as well. And she said, wow, that was a great answer. It was. And your intentionality is so critical.
Yeah.
I noticed on your bio that you took a lot of steps on your journey to becoming who you are today and not just an investor, but you pursued a passion for education and earning a doctorate of education and organizational leadership. Why organizational leadership?
You know, it's just one of those things. I'm gonna just put it out there, right? So I told you I joined the military, to travel and for education and stuff like that. So while I was in the military, I was able to, earn my master's degree, right? So once I retired and after 21 years of service, I had what's called our GI Bill. It's an educational benefit for, veterans. So I knew I'm like, okay, I want to do something with this, and I always wanted to teach at the collegiate level, that type of stuff. So as I was looking at different universities and where I landed, Grand Canyon University, home of the GCU Lokes,
Go
just
ahead, that
looking at the,
plug.
yes, and I wanted to go the education route, a doctor of education versus, PhD, that type thing, but just organizational leadership. I knew that no matter, even if I'm working with individuals or I'm going inside of different businesses, I keyed in on the leadership part, right? So where I can take those skills that I've learned over 21 years and use them no matter the setting that I was in. And that's why I chose the organizational leadership route.
And I need y'all to catch how she prepared herself for her season of elevation, y'all. Y'all know I'm a new author. I'm an author, not a new one. And we use these things, these tools, telling our stories is a part of our
Absolutely.
becoming. And so that's why this is so critical to take a deep dive into her history and of how she became. How did she get to that first property? In the room, Billy Taylor is saying, how long has it been since you got to your first investment property?
How long has it been? Oh man, I got my first property in 2011. No, 2010. And this is how it went down. I'll tell that story. Right. Before I got into real estate, I was like, y'all know, I was in the military. I got deployed to Iraq. So a good friend of mine, while I was over there, she was like, you need to read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. This is like the real
Oh,
estate
good
Bible.
one.
Right.
Mhm.
So I'm in Iraq, mad because I didn't want to be there. They didn't want me there, but I was there, right? So I, read the book, and there was a part in there that just jumped out to me talking about income producing assets. So
Mhm.
I had a house, at the time, it was my primary property, right? So I had a house at that time, but that idea of the income producing asset really stuck out to me. So once I got back from Iraq, shortly thereafter, I, was relocated to somewhere else. So instead of selling that property, I just turned it into my first rental property. That
Oh,
was my very first income
very,
producing
very
asset.
smart woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very,
Because a
very.
lot of times, especially with us in the military, we move around so much. It's like you
Mhm.
don't want to, some of us think that, you know, we don't want to have all these houses, these mortgages and stuff like that. But because I was financially secure, I knew that I would be able to not only afford, that mortgage payment if I needed to due to vacancies, but another home as well. But that's how I got started. And yeah, that was back in 2010. So I've been in real estate off and on for since 2010. I got bit by the bug early.
All right. So I'm going to flip flop a little bit. We have an anonymous question in the chat, and it is how how do I begin the process of financial recovery after Chapter 7 bankruptcy? That's a heavy one.
That's a
I
heavy
probably
one.
should have started somewhere else first,
No,
but let's
yeah,
do it.
that's a heavy one, but I'm gonna go light with it because
Come on.
and stuff like that. But
Let's
the first
go.
thing I will say to you, whoever it is that do not feel no type of way, no shame or guilt because you went through the bankruptcy.
That's right.
It is what it is. Because if you start holding on to that and beating yourself over the head, you're going to carry that with you. Our money stories are so powerful. Our relationship with money is so powerful. So just because you had that bankruptcy, it does not define you as a person. So that's the first thing that I would say. Another thing I would say is like, yo, look at this. It's a clean slate,
Yes.
right? But the thing is, you have to learn. It's the thing about money is so much more than about money, right? You have to really learn. And here's what I'll say to you is that take a look, if you haven't already, to see what actions drove you to be put in that situation so that you don't repeat them, right? A lot of people I see after going bankruptcy, if they don't change that behavior, like we talk, that regain, reclaim, if you don't change that behavior, that that root problem, you're just going to repeat the cycle 4 5 years later. Once you, because what creditors do, they'll see, oh, gee, they got a clean slate. You'll start after maybe a couple of years or so getting these credit card offers in the mail and that type of stuff. And next thing you know, if you're not careful, you back running them up, that type of stuff, you find yourself in the same situation. So I would say definitely just, look at your behaviors first, and then just start taking little, baby steps, open up a secured, credit card where you got to put $100 on the card.
Yeah.
Once you spend that $100, it's gone. There's no continued charging. So that's what I would say. But please do not let that define you or beat yourself up over about that bankruptcy because a lot of people do all the time.
I think that's a great response. And, even for those of us who have been seasoned in the space, who may feel like we got it all together, but then discover one day that you got a stumbling block, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was my story. I had a stumbling block. Here I am, excellent at moving my money, excellent at gaining, and making wealth. But I realized that when I entered into the RE space, that it doesn't matter. I can own a business, I could have good business credit, but you're going to get to a place where at some point in your journey to invest or grow in the RE space, you're going to discover that you have to personally guarantee some things. And when you stumble upon that personal guarantee and you realize that everything you thought was going to go away is inside of the LexisNexis report, or is inside of the, one of them secondary reporters. And, it's never good for us to ignore the importance of being a good steward.
Oh,
over all of our finances. And
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
when that happened, my goal was, okay, I don't ever want to be told no again. So what do I have to do? And so, no matter how long that takes you, honestly, I've been a student of this, of what she's sharing. And so, as a student of this, it's important that you just be, again, intentionality. Take as long as you need, but take the steps to climb out of the situation, and not feel bruised about it, because how many of us, like Dr. Ann, you were saying about how important our money stories are. You were talking about how, even going back to our family history, what was that like for you growing up? What was it like, money conversations like for you in your home? You're like, I remember having a PSFS account when we was 5, so all my kids had bank accounts. They weren't banked at 5 years old. And a lot, can you tell us, let's get into some of the concerns that currently exist, actually, um in the financial space when it comes to personal finance. Like,
Mhm.
there there is so much to learn when it comes to financial literacy that we are not taught in school, or and some of us not taught by our parents. Why? Because our parents weren't taught these things. So that gets into those money stories. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I get into that, I will say this because a term that you use, I think you said something about, making money. You knew how to make money and that type stuff. And I just want to elaborate a little bit where, especially like in the real estate space, right? So consume, want to multiply, like get more and more and more. But my thing is this, if you don't know how to manage it,
That part.
what difference does it make?
That
I
part.
tell people all the time, you can get out of debt, but can you stay out? Right? So
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing I truly believe is I tell people you got to have your own financial house in order first before you do anything. It's that
That's right.
foundational
Good
work
steward.
because you don't want to get a property and then get it lose a property, right?
Mhm.
That's worse off. But I just had to say that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
on
you
my
that was good, because the three M's are, that's the make, manage, multiply.
multiply, that's it.
When I think about God's mandate on our lives as humans, was to always to be reproducing in every area of our
Absolutely.
lives.
Absolutely.
Be good stewards over those things. He wants us to have. He wants us to be, so we could have. So do, so we could have, right?
Yeah.
And so, was it do? Yeah,
I think it's be, do, have.
be, do, have.
I think it's be, do, have.
Be, do, have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's so much that we need to know. And Dr. Ann is sharing with us again. For those of you who are just joining us, we are talking to Dr. Ann James, who is a financial literacy instructor, and organizational leader, who has had an impact on the career development of those in the Department of Defense personnel, nurturing the growth, and future leaders of agency. She has expertise extends beyond the classroom. She's telling us and sharing with us, all of her prestigious work as an accredited financial counselor and certified financial fitness coach. She values the contributions to the field that has garnered recognition from many industry giants. We have another question in
Yeah.
the chat. And this one is, oh no, comment. Love you, Dr. Ann. Any advice on finding your why for a person who is single, no kids, and only responsibility is self?
Mm.
That's a good one.
Ooh, been there, done that. That's how I started out. I ain't have no why. That's why I ended up went buck wild. But just what are you passionate about? That you can be that you can spend hours doing what drives you, that type stuff. So that's what I would say. But even more so to that, I don't know if this person, is spiritual in nature. My bigger why now in addition to my daughter, is at the end of the day, I want to hear, well done,
Good.
thy good and faithful
Faithful.
servant, right? And how do we hear that is by using our gifts and talents. So whatever area that you're gifted in, use that to help others, and then maybe your why or your motivation will unfold.
Yes.
Right. So don't, get caught up, oh, I don't know my purpose, that type of stuff. Just do whatever you like to do and just help other people and it'll unfold. And then you'll be like, okay, this is why I was put here. You know, that's my best answer to
I'd like to
that.
tap in. If may I tap in?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna tap in with
It's your
you
show.
on that one because the day I discovered that there was this pattern that I had across life, there was this thing that I would do every day, whether someone paid me or not. And that would be things like this. It would be connecting people. It would be activating people to do something for themselves. It would be showing you how to maximize everything in your life to get the best results that you can right now. It would be standing in your confidence. It would be when I discovered that those were the things that I was doing every single day, whether somebody paid me or not, I got this awakening on the inside, Miss Jones. It was an awakening that told me that I didn't belong at that job, that I didn't need to be confined, that's why I felt the way I did in that space. So what's really important for those of you who are looking for your why is to revisit that thing that you will wake up to do every single day, whether someone paid you or not. And when you nurture those things, those are considered your strengths.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't heard, there's a book called Strength Zone. You pick it up. That Strength Zone book, once you identify and take the test, it's going to let you know who you are. And you're going to be like, wow, oh, that's why? That's
Yeah.
your why. That's your why.
Yeah, I
And I
agree.
just thought I just needed to share that because it was a
Absolutely.
discovery that led me on the journey that I'm on today. And I stand in peace. I stand in happiness. I stand in love. I stand waking up every single day to do the things that I love to do. And I don't look for anything else. Anything else is a mute point because I'm not going to be happy there. And my happiness is more important than anything in the world. So people say, wake up to look for other people to make them happy. You have an inner happy. You have an inner happy. So thank you. That was a really good
Yeah.
question.
Thank you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much. Let's talk a little bit about this program that you offer called the Wounded Warrior Financial Education Program. Let's talk.
Well, that one is not one that I actually offer. It was one that I was involved with.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's where that organizational leadership skill comes
Okay,
into
got
play.
you.
The
Got you.
Wounded Warrior program, basically, like you said, was that, because I do a lot of work with, military veterans, I was able to provide financial counseling and financial coaching for veterans that was part of that Wounded Warrior program.
Are you still working with veterans?
I am. I will always work with veterans, right? Veterans are my passion. That's my passion. That's my passion. But that's not to say that that's not all who I work with,
Right.
right?
That's a
There was
target.
one. Yeah, before then, I was specifically only working with veterans because that was so much of my identity
Yes.
once I left the military and for years. But it was
Relevance.
just here recently that I'm like, it's always going to be a part of me, but that they're not the only group of people that I can be of service to.
That's
But
right.
I
No
do
limitations.
specialize in veterans and, military benefits and stuff like that. So,
So if you're out there,
yeah, absolutely.
she's got absolute relevance in that area. So you out there and you needed somebody to help you move the needle on where you are in your financial journey, even as a military veteran,
Yeah.
or otherwise. This is your girl, Dr. Ann James. Tell us about the consumer protect. There's so many things that are changing and so much we don't know about consumer financial protection. And
Hmm.
I really want to talk about this because I took a lot of major steps in 2023 that put me on the upside of things. And it had
Good.
everything to do with consumer financial protection. Could
Yeah.
you talk a little bit about the initiative that you had with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau coaching?
Yes, yes, that was back in, I think, like 2018. Once again, these skills come into play. It's about who you know, right? So I was afforded the opportunity to be a part of a pilot. It was a financial coaching pilot program. It was just starting out. It was under the Consumer Federal Protection Board, and that's a federal government agency. And basically, what we did was we were placed in different organizations throughout the state. And at the time, I was in Nevada, specifically in Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I was placed in different organizations where for underserved community, veteran communities. So I was working in what's called a veteran treatment center. Those was for like veterans that are involved with the justice system, that type of stuff. And really, I was able to once again, the financial literacy, those veterans that found themselves, in transitional housing, recently employed again, how to manage, the money, their resources and stuff like that, so that they are not taken advantage of, whether it's through, you know, identity theft or due to other conditions that they may be involved, PTSD, all of those type things that the veteran community faces. Though that's the type of services that I was able to provide under that umbrella as being a contractor underneath, for that agency. So
Okay.
yeah, it was very,
So it's
and it's
government
so,
contractual services.
yes, and it's so funny. I was doing that first. Once again, nothing is never wasted. I
Yeah.
was under that contract for like 2 years, right? And like I said, I was placed into this one organization. So the contract, because it was a new initiative, it didn't get funded. Again, that's how federal agencies are. They lose money, right? But because of the agency that I was working with, they had already made my services a part of their services.
Mm,
And they were like, okay, Ann, we hate that the program going away. Are you gonna do anything yourself?
contract.
I was like, as a matter of fact, I am, right?
Contract.
And that's where Financial Freedom Battle Buddies was born, right? That's
That's
what I was
it.
like. So I started out with them under my business, just working with veterans.
Right.
But once they heard about the veteran program, there was other agencies. They was like, "Do you work for non-veterans?" As
Right.
a matter of fact, I do.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
You know.
So that's where it all begins, through that CFPB initiative
Hmm.
that, once it went away, I was able to open my own and start doing it on my own instead of working underneath somebody. So, yeah.
And I think that there are so many wonderful leaders out here that I've worked with and that I've watched grow under our initiatives as well at NCBWR, that's the National Coalition of Black Women Rising. And this is one of the ways that we encourage other women to redefine what well-being looks like for them. It's like oftentimes we this is the go-to I want people to take away. You heard Dr. Ann say that she used her nothing was wasted. That's my banner. Nothing shall be wasted. Wrote a whole chapter book on that, right? We were hired to do some things. Those were our skills that we were hired to help another company with their strategic plan. Hear me when I say that those are your skills. They belong to you. And on this journey called life, you're going to be hired in many areas. The one thing I tell women is revisit that journey and pull out the things that you enjoyed the most and redefine what your new life is going to look like as an independent business owner. That is the first steps in realizing your power, that you can be contracted to do the things that employers once hired you to do.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Own your power, everyone. I see a hand raised up in
and if I can add to that
go
real
ahead,
quick,
please
I'll
add.
share what somebody once told me. You're absolutely spot on. You want to also create what I call it your brag binder,
That's it.
right? All the things that you've done, whether you know if you got employee of the month, employee of the quarter, whatever, how much you helped them save money or raise money or whatever have you, that your receipts, in other words, your social proof, right, to show the work that you've done. But I call it a brag binder, and I still update mine because you just never know, you know, when you got to show some social proof. So yeah,
Yes, it's
create
called
yourself a
social
brag binder.
mastery, everyone. Master your social proof.
Yeah.
That's a part of another part of my series called Touch One Life. Is called social proof, social mastery, social mastery.
That's it.
We got some comments in the Facebook community, and they're saying Gloria De Los Santos says this is really good information, very good program. We want to shout out those who are with us. Shania Hunter, I see you there. I see you, Gloria. Thank you, Tina Barnhill, again. Thank you, Dolores Jones, for hopping into the space. We thank you. We want to honor you because you could be anywhere, but you're here with us. And please share the video because we want more people to understand the importance of regain. Can you say it for me?
Well, first, you're going to renew your mindset. You know, anytime that before I even get to the money, we got to get that mind right. That's right. We got to, you know, get your mind right. And then we're going to regain control over your spending behavior. Right. You know, just to rein some things in. So basically getting your own financial house in order. And the last one, it can be rebuilt, but I like to say reclaim. Reclaim your confidence in knowing that you can manage your own funds. Right. You don't have to hire somebody. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting help. You want to hire me? Look, I'm here for it. But you can also, it goes back to, like I said, I've learned all of this from reading books and putting action. You can do this, even though it might not be in your family. You didn't go to school for it. You don't have the initials in the front or the back of your name like myself and Dr. E. It doesn't matter. You can reclaim your confidence in managing your own money. So